Organs and tissue transplants are essential to life. They can bring a new lease of life to the patient needing it. So it is indeed a great medical concern. But you'll agree with me that in recent times, there has been a lot of uproar concerning illegal harvesting of human organs, which the federal government is trying to contain with the setting up of an organization, a committee rather, I would say, the National Tertiary Health Institution Standards Committee, that will ensure that standards in terms of ethics, in terms of how things are done, is followed to the letter, because we are talking of human lives. We're talking of organs here and tissue. So today our topic will be organ donation ethics. And we have with us here in the studio past president, Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria, OSN, past chairman, Board of Governors, I Bank for Restoring Vision Nigeria, and a consultant ophthalmologist at the University College Ibadan. Welcome with me, Dr. Badi Ogundipe. Dr. Badi Ogundipe, welcome. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
very
all the
much.
great things you're doing
I
and
will thank God.
ensuring that those who can reach you and your colleagues can have better sights.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
So today we're going to be looking through the lens of the National Tertiary Health Institutions Standards Committee,
Okay.
popularly known as NTHSC. I just want you to do a reference, a little reference, how this is important to what we are going to discuss today. Last week we had the president and the chairman of the committee on the program who was speaking about ethics and the rest of it. Now, we are now going to be dovetailing into the specifics, like you are coming in here to speak to us about the eye and what you can contribute, to make life better for people that would need it. So, how is the committee making efforts and ensuring standards?
Talking about ethics, everything should be done ethically. The way we raise up our children. And I think that's where we start inculcating ethics into, our sphere of life. You may have to spank a child if he shifts from what you consider to be norm. And if you employ someone, you expect him or her to toe the line. So the moment he veers off and you refuse to take him back, it could be disastrous. There's a standard of driving in Nigeria. We drive on the right. If somebody decides to follow the oncoming vehicle, and there are people who are supposed to check him, they don't check him, it can result in fatality. So you don't want that. So in medicine, everything should be done according to the books. And you find out that when you go by the books, you never go wrong.
No, that's
That's
it.
what they say.
So I'll just take it there. When you go by the books, you never go wrong.
Never go wrong.
And so now we're narrowing to the organ that we intend to discuss on
Yes.
this program today. Haven't set set the foundation for standards. Very important. You are a consultant ophthalmologist. You are saying that within the ambit of the law, that you can, even as dead, still give sight to a living.
Yeah.
And this has always been a controversy for Nigerians to actually say, okay, when I'm gone within 6 hours, please take, you can use my cornea, you can use this. So where I want to narrow down to your own area of specialization. Have you been having, how does it affect, cornea transplant?
Okay.
What do you need to have, to even have the material there that you
Yeah.
can use quickly
Yes.
to give
Yes.
sight?
There are two types of organ donation. You have the live donors, and you also have the dead
Donor.
or cadaveric or whatever you want to call it, but someone who is presumed dead. So, as regards the practice in eye transplantation, we don't transplant eye as a whole, but we transplant the cornea. And this has been going on for over a century. Well, at least it was mooted. The idea was mooted over a century. And what I can say is that the eye we can only take from someone who is dead. What we did in that meeting you talked about was the government calling everybody, let's put a check. Let's put boundaries so that people
don't abuse.
And the abuse can be in any form. You may go to a hospital that is not good enough. You may have a surgeon who is not qualified to do it. Then the eye bank also may not be practicing as it should be. There are standards that they need to meet. For example, a lot of people have suggested, oh, why don't you approach the government to give you the leeway to harvest from prisoners who were on death row and have now been executed, or those who just die within the prison because the government will bury them. But there are ethical issues. They have rights. The dead also have rights. So we outrightly rejected, because there's a country in Africa that did it, and the outcome was very bad, and they've not been able to recover from it. When they started it that way, they were able to retrieve a lot of corneas, but at the end of the day,
who needs a cornea?
Very good question. Yes, people who are cornea blind. Cornea is like the windscreen of a car. You know, most of the time you don't notice that there's this glass there. So if anybody sees you from outside and say, oh, he has black eyes, or she has brown eyes, blue eyes, what you are seeing is behind the glass. Okay? So that color that defines you is behind the glass, though that color is produced by the iris. So that glass, if it becomes opacified, that is, it changes from being crystal clear, then we say there is cornea opacification or cornea disease that will affect vision. The cornea is a specialized tissue in the eye, and very unique in that it does not have blood vessels. Yeah. So, because the presence of blood vessel will make it not to see very well. And it is the most transferred tissue in the world.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And the success rate could be as high as 90%.
Who can now be a
donor?
So
once that cornea becomes irreversibly opaque, but the back of the eye is still healthy, and the front of the eye is still healthy, because a lot of people make the mistake that, oh, once the back of the eye is not bad, I can go and get a transplant. But if you have what we call ocular surface disease, then that transplant will not hold for long, because the ocular surface is supposed to nourish the cornea, give life to what we call the cornea epithelium, which is like the plaster. No, don't worry, I'll try and explain it. Which is like the bandage covering the eye. And if that's, or let's say the skin, the black, if you remove it and it doesn't go back, then that sore will be persistent, you know. Is to just remain festering. So ocular surface is responsible for the growth of that skin back over there. So if that is bad, then you are wasting your time trying to transplant. So the front of the eye must be good. The back must also be good.
Right.
So that the eye can be restored. If the back is bad,
and when you
the vision can be. Thank you.
The vision can be restored.
Yes.
And when this is done, let's assume somebody is blind.
Yes. From cornea blind.
From cornea.
Cornea blind.
You are cornea blind, and you're lucky that you get a donor.
Yes.
Does it restore?
Oh,
vision?
Perfectly.
Right.
Perfectly.
And okay, so now let's talk who can donate.
Yes. So like I said, anybody that is cornea blind, we've defined what cornea blindness is now. And what are the causes? Trauma, infection, you know. But at the end of the day, this cornea is opaque.
Damaged, okay.
So that individual, after assessing, because we've talked about the front part not doing well, we can still do a modified cornea transplant for such individual, but not all of them. We do what they call keratoprosthesis, okay? We can still do that to help them. When no age that cannot be transplanted. I transplanted like 87-year-old man, the two eyes. A federal high court judge, retired federal high court judge, and he kept the grafts, the two eyes, until he died at around 91, 92 of. So, I mean, that's the oldest
You've done.
I've done. And
I
can, you know.
Youngest?
Youngest, maybe 8.
8 years.
Yes. I've had reasons to be approached by people who were younger, but I consider them not too suitable because now I get my corneas from abroad, and if there's any issue,
you don't get cornea here because that's the core of the matter.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Nigerians
I run away from anybody below 5.
Okay.
Not that I can't do, but I run away.
Okay.
And it's a little bit technical to do, but that's no issue. Okay. You understand?
We have the human resources that can do that.
We can get it.
We can get it.
We can train people. I sent somebody for training to be an iBank manager for us, but there was an attrition after the training. So you understand. So we can, within a very short period of time, get people trained.
Okay, you're talking about the bank, the iBank.
Yes.
How viable it is in Nigeria?
Now,
because we have to come home.
It's viable. It's viable.
Yes.
But what we need is really the cornea, or the eye, because you can retrieve a cornea or you can retrieve the whole globe. But what we need is that cornea, the willingness by people to pledge, you see, and give adequate instructions to their kins that, okay, when I pass on, and it should be done within a very short period, get in touch with the iBank. The awareness is not really there. If this were to be in the 80s, we won't be having issues as much as we are having.
What happened?
Number one, we had only NTA, state radios and state stations, probably 2 or 3 maximum in the states. Maximum. It was only Lagos that had 3 and above in the 80s. So disseminating information was quite easier then. And of course, the media stations have to pay their staff. They have to run diesel generator and the rest of it. So we have to do, some of them are doing corporate social responsibility by giving us some airtime.
Like what we're doing here.
Like, oh, thank you very much. So that's costs money too. You put a lot of money into it. How many people are listening? Because they are divided into so many stations. So the audience is thinned out.
Yes.
So that is number one. So I don't think we've made enough. We have to accept our faults too, okay?
Before, as professionals.
No, you see,
or as a country, or as a people.
When you see a problem and you don't see yourself as part of the problem, you can never solve the problem. So I believe that the iBank and professionals have not done enough as regards disseminating information about pledging and donating eyes and cornea. So that's number one. Number two, there are taboos and cultural beliefs that I want to go and meet my maker the way I came. Okay, but when this guy has something like cataract, where we have to remove the lens for him to see, he does not see anything wrong in parts of the eye being, removed and something implanted. Although we've had some people, and I have no quarrels, no problems with dealing with such people. All I just tell them is that, yeah, you can go. When you are ready, you'll come back. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, you are seeing now. There'll come a time you won't know what is placed ahead of you. You won't know when people come in to steal your money. You won't know. So they go, then in the next 1 or 2 months, they come back. You understand? And also, people believe in reincarnation. And of course, we have different religious bodies and their beliefs differ. But for Christians, we are not going to come back with this type of body. And one other thing I keep asking them is that, do you believe that a Christian who had a road traffic accident or the house got burnt, do you think he will make heaven?
I see. Related it to reality.
Yes.
All right. So we're looking the way forward.
The way forward. Yes, we've talked about
human resources.
iBank. That is possible. iBank is in existence, although can be improved on. Then information dissemination, creating awareness. Then when you say you are a bank, you must have money inside that bank. When you say you are a bank, iBank, you must have corneas there. So once we start getting that, then everything will be improved on. Now, it's not totally bad because we've had 2 people who pledged and donated their corneas, and they were used for 4 people. The 2 eyes were used for 4 people, and they did well. Although I was not one of the people that used. That's why when you asked that question, I said no.
Now let's see. How do you? Well, I hate to use the word harvest, but how do you get a cornea? Maybe because our time is running fast.
Fine, great. So what's the first thing is a pledge. You must have pledged that I want to donate my tissue or organ, or specifically the eye or cornea, when I pass on. And you must have signed. There must have been a witness. The second thing is that you must inform your kins.
Your people.
That when I die, I want to donate this, and settle it before you die. Even if it's in your will, you must let people know, because nobody reads the will the moment you die. And you also need to let them know that it's within 6 hours.
Within 6 hours, very important.
Except the body has been put in under certain conditions, you know. Then, so the moment the individual passes on, call the eye bank
With these lines.
with these lines. Then you can thereafter, the retrieval will be done. It's going to be processed. As the cornea is being retrieved, the blood of that individual is also taken to make sure that there is no disease that will be transmitted to the recipients of the eye. And if the patient died in the hospital, if those tests that we were planning to do had been done within certain period of time, usually a week, then there is no need
So
for us to go
are you
for it again.
suggesting that autopsy is also important going forward? Does that have
It has nothing to do
with
it.
this?
No,
Okay.
no,
Right.
it has nothing to do with it.
But and well, thank you for being on Bridges. I see that
It's as if
yes,
we should continue.
we
and
should
continue
continue the
and continue.
conversation. But you're passing short. What are you telling Nigerians? I mean, it doesn't take away anything. The dead is dead.
Yeah.
And there's something you said
The dead is not dead.
The dead is not dead, because the dead,
Can
even
still
in death, is giving a lease of life
Yes.
to people who are still lucky to be alive.
Sure.
So yes, consultant ophthalmologist. Let's hear the last word from you.
Well, the last word will be that a lot of people can be given a new lease of life through the gift of sight. I would call it a gift of life. That's the cornea. And like you were saying earlier on, it's going to give them a new life or a new livelihood. The man that is cornea blind may continue to live, but his lifespan is shortened, maybe by about 5-10 years. And
the quality of life
is not, the quality of life is not productive again. As much, I'm not talking about people who were blind early in life, who were, trained and
to live as blind.
Yes, they live very well, they do very well. You can't, But these people are no more productive. A lot of people are dependent on them, and during that course of time, they too are less productive. You have to get somebody to be looking after them. You don't want. Then, if the moment they get this cornea, they become productive. The quality of life is fantastic. They contribute to the economy, and they see their children, grandchildren, they are happy.
Happy people.
You need to see how happy these people are. I operated 18-year-olds who had this problem, and
I'm sure one of these days, Prof, would like to have a beneficiary. We'll plan with you,
sure.
so that we can also encourage people that the dead can still be alive. Yeah. And first, I want to thank you very much for sharing your time with us. But most importantly, I think above everything, we can only give a new lease of life to a recipient when the dead has willingly.
And we are going to be responsible to make sure that the recipient is not hurt. And even the dead is not hurt.
That's it. So speaking seriously, how expensive is this before we go? The cost implication
of
cornea. How much is that?
Well, the last one I did, they got the cornea for $2,000. The
imported one.
Yeah, they brought it in from abroad, from US to be precise. And they charged at the customs, which shouldn't be.
Okay.
Because it's a biological tissue for transplantation, for human. In the past, I used to get it free. Free. I mean, through the customs. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know why
Right.
this one started now. Maybe you can interrogate that for us.
All right.
And
Well,
so at the end of the day, the patient spent about 3 million. So other places, I don't know if it's going to be more than that. That is not acceptable. If we consider the people who are usually cornea blind, most of them don't have the means and resources
so
so
it still boils down to
what I will want to see is a situation whereby you can get your cornea transplanted at about 500,000 maximum.
that we'll take it there from you, saying that with 500,000 naira, when I mean outside what we see today, which out of pocket will cost
Yes.
up to 3 million. Let's look at the national health insurance. Maybe this also would have a look at it. But essentially, you cannot have you cannot have a recipient if you do not have a donor. And
Correct.
yes, and I think this is where to go. And I'm sure that my viewers listening out there, I hope that we have been impactful.
Okay.
So our promise on Bridges is that we're going to be taking the tissues and the organs and the tissues one after the other. I mean, interestingly, you can donate liver, you can donate kidney, you
Kidneys,
can, yeah,
intestines, skin, bone.
bone, you can donate all that and give somebody else a true meaning of life. Thanks for watching. Bridges, will be back same time next week.